Cowboys pay Micah Parsons? Probably. Maybe inevitably, but he's officially requested a trade. He sent that trade request to Stephen Jones himself. He announced it on Twitter. According to Adam Schefter, 3 of his teammates have now changed their Twitter avatars to be Micah Parsons. The team's not happy about it, but naturally to come from this bump is like, well, what if they do trade him? And what if the Seahawks are a candidate to be in part of that conversation? We're going to talk about the pros and cons of trading for Micah. We'll start with the easiest possible pros of trading for Micah Parsons. Which one? What is a couple for you?
The pros?
Yeah.
Is that you get someone at a young age of, 25, 26 years old. He will be elite at his position for at least 4 or 5 years. And could go longer than that, but just projecting off of what I see and what I feel, maybe 4 to 5 years. You get a guy who is ready, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's always easier to come to a new team and pick up a defense fairly quickly because there's only so much that you can do. You're reacting as a defense, and you bring star power to your team.
Yeah.
Tickets will be sold. Jerseys will be sold. You can be the dang Browns, and people are going to show up to see this young man play. He is one of the best, if not the best, defender in the game. You get something that's signed, sealed, and delivered.
Now, you don't need Micah Parsons to do this, but it also adds, he would be starting, but depth to a position where you don't have a Uchenna Nwosu entering the season. TBD if he'll be ready week 1, but right now he's not, and they're very uncertain on this timetable. They are not giving details about when he's going to be ready. So let's say hypothetically that he's not with you to start the season. Derek Hall has had a good offseason. We've enjoyed conversations with him. He sounds so confident. Boye Mafe and him both really blossomed last year. We know that it's a good group, but every expert we've talked to about depth with this team has mentioned they could really use another guy.
Yeah, you could. And how desperate are you for that guy? Because what the absence of Uchenna does is allow space for someone else to grow. All right, could you imagine a defense with Micah Parsons on this thing? Most definitely. But what are you willing to give up? I just looked up the last biggest trade that I remember was Matthew Stafford as a quarterback, but it's kind of the same caliber, right? A guy who's a veteran who's ready to go. All right, the Lions receive a quarterback, and a 2021 third-round pick, a first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. I don't know if the Seahawks are willing to do that. And if you do give up a first-round pick, I would assume you're not going to give up a top 10 pick. I think this team is going to be good. I think, if anything, you're giving up number 18, 19, 20 or something like that. So there's a way to get this done. I just don't know if that's the way that John Schneider wants to build his team. Now, if Mike McDonald were to come to John Schneider, like, look, I need this guy. This will take us to the next level. I'm sure he would consider it. But then you got to sit down and map out the future of your team. What do we need? Are we going to need another high draft pick for an offensive lineman? Are we going to need another draft pick for a quarterback? You don't know. There's a lot of projecting going on in this situation, but you definitely have to take a look at it.
Yeah, if you were to, I like that you mentioned that, because if you were to contrast the number one thing in pros and the number one thing in cons, it creates a decision that feels kind of impossible to make. Micah Parsons is a young star who makes you better, period. He puts you over the top. He would be incredibly valuable to your defense. And he's familiar with that and dirty. Flip side, you have to give up draft picks that you want to be able to use for a team that's not necessarily win now, it's our Super Bowl window this year mode. You're in we need to build up mode. They've got a good young core, keep adding to it. And also, you have to immediately pay him. So there's the value of draft picks you're giving up, and then the actual capital that you have to invest. He is not playing without a new deal in 2025. He is not.
Yeah, another thing that's different between the Ram situation and this one is that they went to get a quarterback. A quarterback can change your franchise in a year or two, especially if you already have pieces around him. If Michael Parsons joins this defense, I don't think it makes them a Super Bowl team. It makes them a Super Bowl type of defense, but you still have other questions that need to be answered on the other side of the football. So I think the position plays a big role in this as well, but you also have so much depth and talent on that defense. Mike McDonald might be looking at this defense and saying, we can win with this. So, and it's just the assets, man. I don't think you want to give up all those pieces. A team that's struggling, a team like Titans, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Jets, maybe the Jets, the Patriots. Those are teams I feel like that are more likely to take a stab at this because they're going to have a high draft pick anyway next year. So why not go ahead and pay for a high draft pick that's already been proven in this league?
Something that's a little wrinkle that hasn't necessarily been the case with some former trades the Seahawks have made is you have a former teammate of this player and maybe they don't have the best relationship.
Right.
With D-Law having signed him in free agency. It's not like, I'll throw the question your way rather than answering. Do you think it matters at all that D-Law doesn't have a great relationship with Micah Parsons?
Nope. I think it matters to them, but this is a working relationship. Get her done. Like, that's not going to be the deciding factor. It's not going to be, hey, John Schneider, he's ready. I'm going to give up 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and you get to the table and you go, but let's ask DeMarcus Lawrence how he feels about this. Oh, he doesn't want to do it? No, that's the deciding factor. No, I think they take it into consideration, but if they're already talking about giving up draft picks and doing all that good stuff, that's not going to be the reason why they don't get it done.
Well, and the difference, too, is like, is DeMarcus Lawrence here with you next year? Maybe, I don't know. If you trade for Micah Parsons at 26 years old and then give him an extension, not only is he with you next year, he's with you for several years.
Yeah.
So you're trading for a long-term piece, and you don't want to have someone whose future with you is up in the air decide whether or not you make that decision.
Yeah, and, it's ageism, but it happens all the time in the NFL. DeMarcus is just older, too. Like, how many more years is he going to play? I think he can still play 3-4 solid years, but with Micah, you're talking 6, 7, 8 possibly. There's a difference there.
I have definitely covered players who did not like teammates.
Yeah.
They still made it work.
All the time.
It's just,
let me
think
tell
about
you,
people you work with.
Let me tell you, that those Super Bowl years, there were some players who did not like each other.
You better believe it.
And they, you know what they did? Won ball games.
Won a lot of ball games. And you just make it work, man. Players are able to compartmentalize a lot of things, including maybe some not so great relationships they have with teammates or coaches or whoever else. Maybe I'll wrap up. So we went over some of the pros and cons, with the pros being, hey, he's only 26 years old. Rarely do you have a player this young become available to trade. This just does not typically happen. You usually see a Trey Hendrickson where it's like the team has already given him a contract, but now they're on the fence about whether or not they want to because he's on the wrong side of 30. This guy's 26. Obviously, the productivity with him being one of Dallas's best players, one of the best defensive players in all of football with a track record to back it up. He's got a good relationship with Adam Dirty. He makes your team better. He addresses an area that could certainly use depth. While he wouldn't be a depth piece, it allows really good players. Like, imagine if Derek Hall and Boye Mafe are like extras that you have too. Cons, Cowboys asking price.
Yep.
Are you willing to give up multiple first-round picks?
Nope.
A relationship with DeMarcus Lawrence, which I think you kind of were like, nah, take it out of there, not really relevant. Parson with his podcast. Parson's personality, maybe, is that worth exploring for? Does that do anything for you? He's an outspoken guy.
Yeah,
he announced
is.
this himself on Twitter.
Yeah, but I also think that's just the new wave, man. Like, me, my old school, my 39, 1985 self, it would be like, oh, man, that's a distraction. But everyone has a dang podcast, man. You just have to be honest and open with them and